Rev up your engines!
Well, if you've been following it, GM and Honda have a joint electric car project going on here, and they claim they're going to be making affordable electric cars by 2027. Now, that's 5 years down the line, so who knows, but that's what they're claiming. Now, they say they're going to use the GM's Ultium battery technology that they have. Maybe they'll have it perfected by then. That's 5 years from now, right? And it'll all be based on the same platform. It makes more sense with electric cars to have a skateboard platform, that you got one platform with the batteries and motors. You can put different batteries, different motors, but it's the same platform, and then you just put different bodies on top of them. Now, they say that Honda's going to develop the bodies and stuff for them, and GM's going to make the skateboard platform using the GM Ultium batteries. Of course, none of these actually exist yet, and they say they're going to do it by 2027, so take it out with a little grain of salt here. And of course, they're talking about delving into compact SUVs and crossovers, that are the real popular ones now. And Honda says, and I quote, "We want to develop a series of EVs in the most popular segments at great quality and high volume." Now, GM is talking about an EV Equinox at less than $30,000. People say things about price, and then later the price is much higher. We really don't know. But if they can pull out less than $30,000 EVs, hey, they're going to be a lot more popular than the $60,000 to $150,000 ones. The problem that I see is the skateboard Ultium chassis and battery system is GM. They've had nothing but problems with electrical stuff. Reserve judgment until 2027 comes about. We'll see if they're making them. We'll see if they hold up. It's a long time in the future. His ex says, "Scotty, does my 2013 Toyota Sienna have Takata airbags? I want to be safe." Maybe, maybe not. Here's the thing. 2013 was the last year that the Toyota Siennas may have used Takata airbags. Some did and some didn't. What you're going to have to do is get your VIN number, the vehicle identification number on the door, and call up Toyota and say, "Here's my VIN number. Do I have Takata airbags or not?" And they can look it up. Even I don't have the resource to look that up. My information system doesn't go that in depth. If it was 2014, I'd say no. But 2013 was the last year that they used Takata airbags. Some of the models did and some of them didn't. So get your VIN number, call up the Toyota dealer. They can tell you whether your particular model has Takata airbags or not. And of course, if you got a notice in the mail that says, well, you're getting recalled, then definitely it's got the stupid Takata airbags in it. Fireman 311 says, "Can I change my oil filter without draining out the oil? It will make a huge mess." 2015 Honda Odyssey. You can change your oil filter. If you don't want to make a big mess, do it first thing in the morning after it drained out. When you take it off, whatever's in it is there, but it doesn't then drain out. The bottom oil drain will, but that's up higher, so it's not going to empty the sump. Your oil pan is lower, so it won't drip all over the place. But why do you want to just change the filter? You change the oil and the filter together. But if you want to, yeah, you can. It's not going to drip all over the place, because once you take it off, that's it. It doesn't fly up in here and come out, because the oil pan's down here and the filter's up there. So don't worry about it. It's not going to drip all over the place. Just whatever bit is in it will. But I'd change the oil and filter. I wouldn't just change the filter. The Europeans used to be really cheap, and they would change the oil filter every other oil change. They do an oil change with just the oil. Then the next time they change the oil and filter. Then the next time they just change the oil. And the next time they oil and filter, because they were cheap. But I changed them both together. They're not that expensive. Hectic Hyundai says, "My car jerks before it stops. I got a 2008 Hyundai Elantra. Before I come to a stop from any speed, the car jerks right before stopping. I know my rotors are warped. Could this be causing the jerk, or could be something else?" You say from any speed. Higher speeds, your steering wheel will shake if your rotors are warped. An actual jerk, that's more often the transmission going out as it downshifts. I wouldn't be surprised if the transmission is starting to go out. Go to a guy like me, a good mechanic who's got fancy equipment, have him hook up a scan tool, drive the vehicle, record the data, and when it jerks, all he's got to do is look at the transmission data. And if he says you can see that jerk is a downshifting, all that data is in the computer, it records it all. Now we can play it back in digital form or analog form, and we can even do it in graphic form, and you can see, yeah, that's what's happening. Right when it clunks, doing a downshift, usually that means it's a problem inside the transmission. If your brakes rotors are warped, that'll make your steering wheel shake, but the car will still stop. It doesn't make it jerk. That more often is internal transmission problems, and I see it all the time in the Hyundais. Big reason I tell people not to buy the things. trucks. You didn't give the mileage, so I don't know how many miles, but if you got over 100,000 miles, I can just about guarantee you it's internal transmission failure. Betty Water says, is my car worth spending money on it? I got a Lancer 2001, 235,000 kilometers. That's what, 140, 50,000 miles, something like that. Should I spend money replacing the lifters and other parts or drive it till it drops? I'd say drive it till it drops. I would not put a bunch of money into a Mitsubishi that is 11 years old. It's not worth it. They often have valve cleaner. Mitsubishi is notorious for lifter valve cleaner. As long as you change your oil every 5,000 miles, use full synthetic oil, as long as it runs, I'd say drive it till it drops. I'd change the spark plugs, air filter, all that stuff, clean the fuel injectors with some cleaner, put a new air filter in, and then just kind of live with it, because it's not worth rebuilding an engine, one of those things. They only last so long anyways. But I've had a lot of customers driving old junky Mitsubishis around that smoked, burnt oil, made noises, but they still went down the road. It could still be a good knock-around car. It wouldn't be a car that I'd get in and drive from Rhode Island to California and back on a whim, no. But for a knock-around work car to go back and forth to work, I'd keep it that way. I wouldn't put a bunch of money in it. Well, here's an interesting bit of news. Turns out that Ford trucks and SUVs may soon be getting carbon fiber wheels. Of course, the less they weigh, the more power you get, less spinning mass, and the better gas mileage that you get. Now, Ford's vehicle director of performance says, he really likes this idea of carbon fiber performance and stuff, and they're thinking about, maybe they'll put them on their trucks and SUVs. Let me tell you, one, they're expensive. Two, any manufacturing flaw in carbon fiber, it's going to crack. I know people who had carbon fiber motorcycle wheels, the things were always cracking and breaking. If they're made right, they're really strong, but come on, they're mass-producing stuff. The carbon fiber stuff that isn't mass-produced is very strong, like the stuff in race cars, but hey, it's super expensive, and they don't make that much of it. There aren't that many race cars out there. And of course, if you have lighter wheels, your suspension system's going to work better. There's less mass going on. It can handle better. But really, the cost of this stuff, and I could see the problems occurring, I don't think it's worth the money they're going to spend. So basically, since this guy's the head of their performance, maybe the fancy, Raptors and stuff like that, they might put them on. But as an everyday run-of-the-mill, it's overkill for vehicles, I don't care what you do with an SUV, it's going to get crappy gas mileage. It's just the way. It's a heavy vehicle. It's high up in the air. It's not aerodynamic. Many are all-wheel drive, which uses more energy to go. So, you can't get much better gas mileage. They're always trying to squeeze a little bit more, but the technology and the costs, and of course, unproven like this, mass-produced carbon fiber wheels, who knows how long they'd last. They might start cracking and breaking, and there'd be a big recall and a mess of people getting killed when their wheels snap in half. Regular metal wheels work perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. A little bit too much technology here. Well, more bad news for Tesla. They're having to shut down their Shanghai plant. Of course, Elon's saying, he's voluntarily shutting it down. Well, what a bunch of nonsense. It's a communist country. And they tell people, you're shutting down, you shut down. You don't act like it's your choice. Now, of course, the Chinese are going bonkers about the new COVID, and they're closing Shanghai down. I guess they didn't realize that shutting things down doesn't work all that well. But, it's a communist country. What can you say? You must obey. So it's not like the guy did it voluntarily. He really had no choice to shut the factory down there. That's the problem when you build them in other countries, especially in a communist country. They can do whatever they want. If they wanted, they can nationalize the car industry and say it's ours now. That's been done before in other countries. Of course, he looked at it from a different perspective, that, hey, you can build them cheaper there, and two, there's a big market in China, and they probably will be the first country in the world to really electrify, because they can be forced to electrify. In China, they can say, okay, we're shutting all the gas stations down. Now we're all going to drive electric cars and electric motorcycles. They already have something like 350 million electric scooters and bicycles already, so to them, it's not that big of a deal. And if they want to build 150 nuclear electric power plants that they say they're going to build, they can electrify their country faster than anybody. Of course, realize, who knows, what they say and what they do could be just like any other country. They're still based mainly on coal. Most of their electricity is coal-burning plants, and they keep building them, so who knows what'll actually come out in the long run. Well, the Tesla Cybertruck has arrived, but it's only arrived to their Gigafactory in Austin, because they're having a Cyber Rodeo grand opening. Now, the headquarters of Tesla is in Austin, Texas. They're opening up the giant Gigafactory, and they're having a copy of a Cybertruck there. Realize they don't make them yet. This is some kind of a one-off mock-up. They say the Cyber Rodeo guests will get a close-up look of the Cybertruck. Here's the problem I see with all this stuff. It's all PR baloney. I remember when Ford invited me in Houston to see their Mustang Mach-E, their their electric SUV. It has nothing to do with Mustangs, but they like the name, right? Was the biggest joke on the planet. The thing didn't have batteries in it. You couldn't open it up and get inside. You couldn't even make it make the sounds it made. It was just a shell and you look at it. A lot of the stuff are dog and pony shows. I'd love to see what the Cybertruck actually is. Is it a running model? Probably it'll just sit there and people will look at it, you know, like an art museum. Now, Musk claims that it may be ready for production 2023. Well, we know how that goes. Maybe 2023, maybe not. And they're not even mentioning the cost. They used to say cost. They've kind of given up with that idea. If you want to go to Austin to this thing, hey, you'll probably be able to look at it. I doubt if it's going to be moving or have anything in it, but it'll be sitting there, the shell of it. Maybe he'll throw rocks at it and break the windows like he did with the other one. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.